Hello guys, girls and everything in between, I'm Gasman Ant and welcome back to today's video where we're going to be talking about the potential 1.2 update. If you want to see all of the features in this video, all you have to do is go to the player test servers and you can check all of these features out for yourself. In this video, we're just going to talk about some of the features and my opinion on what's good, what's bad, what I like and what I don't like. This has been a pretty controversial update in the community on the Discord servers, as it's been pretty much back and forth between devs and the community itself. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Let's get into the first clip. In the 1.2 update, we will see 3 new building structures. The first structure being the triangle foundation, which needs 10 branches to craft, the same as a square foundation. I feel like this should be halved to at least 5 just to balance that out on the materials. The next one will be the triangle floor. Again, the same as the triangle foundation, 10 branches, but I feel like it should be balanced to 5. Branches aren't hard to get, but later materials are. And then last but not least, the low wall. Again, a full wall costs 10 branches, a low wall costs 10 branches. I just think they need to do a little bit of balancing with this. So let's see the features in action. So the triangle foundation, pretty straightforward. Triangle, these are going to be useful for airlocks on bases, like so. 2 doors or to get through into someone's base, meaning that you can open this door, get inside, shut this door behind you, open the door to your main base. So it's pretty controversial, as these are things that are coming from Rust. These are pretty much Rust ideas, and the game's struggling with its own identity. This is the first bit of negative criticism of the game. I like Rust, so these are features that are all appeal to me in this kind of game. But I know there's some people out there that feel strongly about this. The next thing we can do with the triangle foundations is we can obviously add honeycomb to bases, meaning they've got to go through 2 extra walls now to get to this wall, which again, it's a good feature for my opinion. Obviously, this is all purely coming from like a PvP aspect. I suppose the aspect for PvE is that the triangle foundations can be used for more creative base builds, give a bit more of a decorative vibe, a bit more of a real world rather than everything just being squares. The next feature is going to be the low wall. In my opinion, this is a PvE feature as well. There's no real reason to this, as you can't build on top of it, you can't add anything off of it, so I just think it's a bit useless, as obviously you can see it can be jumped over no matter which way you're on it. So the only PvP instinct I can see with this is if you put a turret behind it, might be a little bit harder to kill, but yeah, that's the only real thing I've got for that. So my opinion, I'm not really a fan of the low walls, triangle foundations and triangle ceilings, though I feel like that was a good move for the game. So we talked enough about that. Let's go on about the secondary materials that are now needed to upgrade your bases. So you can see here, branches don't need any second materials. When we placed them down, it was literally just 10 branches as the requirement. But now when we want to upgrade to wood, you will see that we need a secondary material of nails. So the original base value there for planks is 10. That hasn't changed. I feel like this isn't going to really impact the game too much, depending on what kind of server you play on. So if you play on a 1x loot server, where the loot respawns slower, you'll feel this. But if you play on like the max respawn rate server, like 5 times, you'll see that this isn't really going to have much of an effect, in my opinion anyway. This used to be in Deadside, but this was in before I played, so way before my time. So it'd be nice to get an opinion of a player who has played for a while. So, as well as wood being a secondary material, needing a secondary material, sheet metal now needs a second material of rebar. So again, it's all the same situation as the wood and nails. If you play on a 5x server, it's going to be easier. If you play on a 1x, it'll be harder. I feel like we're going to need a full wipe to see these in effect. I don't think 7 days is long enough, and there's not very many players playing on the test servers to really give it a good run. But in all of my experimenting, I do think that depending on server respawn rate will affect this. Following on from the new building features, I think it's only right that we talk about the explosives now. So the explosives now cost less to craft. So if we go into the raid section here, you can see that when we click on the dynamite, it now only costs 4 dynamite sticks and 1 rope to make a full dynamite bundle. This might be in balance with the new triangle foundations. Obviously, people are now able to honeycomb their base, so making explosives a little bit more accessible for everybody. And then the explosive charge now, it needs 2 explosives instead of 4. It still needs the normal 1 mobile phone and 1 electronic repair kit to craft. But I feel like this is good for a solo player. In my opinion, I think it would be better for me because I'm able to get the explosives and go through bases a little bit easier, as when I play solo, you don't really come across a lot of explosives, and groups, I feel, will love this because now it will make raiding a little bit more fun, and you'll see probably a lot more raids going on within your servers. While we're talking about explosives and raiding, it'd be a good time to mention the new feature of the scaling ladders, or the raid ladders. Now, these are a new feature that have been added to the 1.2 update, where if you go to your inventory, you can go to the raid section and you can craft these for 10 planks and 10 nails. These now are used to access people's bases where you normally couldn't, so the roofs. If you see, we can walk up to this base here, and then you can place them onto the base regardless of where they are. So I'm going to place them here, and then all you have to do is look at the ladder and climb up them. I like the platform feature here. As you can see, it's a little area to stand on that you can walk off of, jump off of, do whatever you need to, move around a little bit, place at a C4, jump off, climb down. I feel like that's a good feature in my opinion. The one feature that I have figured with these is, as you saw a minute ago, is I've placed them pretty high. In my opinion, they shouldn't really be accessible. But if you look at them, you can just grab onto them and then just miraculously teleport up here. The only way that you can remove these off of a base is if you have access to that base's storage. So obviously this is my base, so I can remove them. So one thing to look out for is if these are attached to your base, make sure that you're going around periodically just to make sure that nobody attached a ladder. Another feature that I feel like will be good for both PvP and PvE is that we can now use these in our bases, so that we can climb up to areas that we couldn't before with minimal space. So normally you'd have had to have had ladders, you'd have had to have the staircases. If I go to this menu here, you'd see that we only had U stairs, L stairs, and then just normal stairs. I feel like this now has added a little bit of a broader option for getting up to places. As you can see, we just climb up to them, and then we're through. All you really need to make sure that these don't decay in your base is that the storage and upkeep is full, and then they won't decay, as these have been here on this server now for about 3 days, and because I have the upkeep time, they haven't decayed. So that's a good thing about these ladders. Again, pretty controversial, as everyone's trying to say that this game is now just copying a full-scale Rust. It's losing its identity. I kind of enjoy this, as it's a little bit of a mix of DayZ and Rust, and the two games that I've grew up playing. The next talking point will be respawns. Now they've introduced a new respawn system in Deadside, that when we spawn on bags outside of our base claim, we're on 50 HP. If we spawn on a sleeping bag with inside of our base claim, we'll spawn on 75 HP. And if we respawn on a bed inside of our base claim, it'll be 100 HP. So I'll show you this now. I'm going to suicide where I am. I'm then going to select a bag in my base that's under claim. I'm going to respawn on it. And then when we've respawned on it, you can see that we are on 75 HP, as it's a sleeping bag next to the claim storage. So I like this feature because when you're out roaming, it's going to stop people from being able to compete at full health, which gives you the upper hand, which is the way it should be. If you've set someone down, they shouldn't be coming back, being able to collect all their gear and then being ready to challenge you. I don't feel like that's a fair way to see it. Me, personally, this is all coming from a PvP mindset. Few features, we don't really have videos to back up the features other than what's just said. So the admin stuff that have changed on servers is that you can limit the amount of sleeping bags that are on your servers. Now this range, I don't know how many it could be, but obviously 15's max, and we don't know what the minimum will be, if it's 1 or if it's 0 or whatever the servers are going to be allowed. Me personally, I'd like to set it to 2 in my server, so there's a base bag and then there's a roaming bag, or potentially just 1, just your base bag, and then everything out in the world's fair game. But some people might not like this hardcore aspect. Also, they have added that sleeping bags can't be put in POIs. Now, I'm curious to see how this would work, as if we look at the map now, you'd see down here there are no missions on. Would this mean that these areas here, this is a mission area, this is a mission area, would it mean that I can't put a bag within here, or does it mean I can't put a bag within the entirety of airfield, like with the building? So when we try to build an airfield, you have to be a kilometre away. Or would it be, say, take for example, would it only be in this mission area that a bag can't be placed? I'm kind of curious as to see how that one will work. The next feature we'll want to talk about as well is that the guns, when we go into places now, when you look at the gun on the ground, it doesn't spawn with full health, it does spawn damaged. So if we look here, you can see this AKSU has durability of 26%, which means the accuracy is reduced and the damage is reduced also. Which kind of makes it bad in fights, because now when you're trying to get back into a fight and somebody's got a higher armor than you, it's going to be harder to kill them, just for the pure fact that your gun's not going to do as much damage, and you're really going to have to catch them off guard, like catch them running across the field and they have no idea where you're shooting them from, depending on what armor they're wearing. Also, one more fact that I want to touch upon is the AI. Now, obviously, what they've done is they've made the armor a little bit better. So if you've got a higher tier armor and you're getting shot by a low caliber weapon, it's going to take a lot more to go through that armor. Now, I feel like it's made AI a lot harder to kill. Now, that probably should be the case with the cargo carrier. So, if you go to this mission, well, it's not on the map, but there's a case carrier. If you go to that mission, I feel like he should be hard to kill, because he's offering pretty much high tier loot in terms of the last armor in the game. Looking at the map, guys, we can now see that they have added 2 new UI features, the metal planer and the wood planer. They can be located, the metal planer, by this hydraulic press looking kind of symbol, and then the wood planer by a saw looking symbol, and they can be found all over the map and they're pretty highlighted. And you can see that some of the mission areas have been icons have been changed. They have a little bit of a darker background, you can't see through them. They've just made them stand out or pop a little bit more. I do like this. I don't really think the metal planers and wood planers are pretty useful out of bases, because I never really use them. Like, there's just the metal planers and wood planers are so easy to get to that I've never ever used one. So if they want to make them useful, they need to sort of add some sort of tier progression to like the workbenches to make them harder to get. But then I feel like they're going down a slippery road and they're just copying Rust more and more and more. So they do need to get their own identity. They have done that, but I feel like that could be a tricky situation to handle for some players in the game. Right, guys, before we sign off today's video, the last feature I want to cover is the corpses that are all over the map. As you can see here, there is a dead body here. I feel like this is Tiny Build hinting at a future where Deadside could potentially see zombies alongside their AI. If this is something you think is a bit absurd, let me know in the comments down below. I also want to know what you guys think of this update, as I feel like it's been a very controversial update. Reading the Deadside general chat in the Discord server, it's been back and forth all the time. Some people like it, some people hate it, but again, it's just some things they've got to just, you know, put in the game test and see how people feel. If people don't like it, they can potentially remove it, and if the majority like it, they can potentially keep it. Also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to today's video, as it all helps me out massively and it gives me an idea of what you guys like to see, whether you like these kind of update styles videos, or you like the tutorials or the playthroughs. This has been Gasman Ant. Thank you for watching today's video, and we'll catch you in the next Deadside adventure.